Hello, and welcome to this news briefing on global affairs, international relations, and geopolitics on Hypeno. This hour in focus, tensions rise in the Middle East as the U.S. blocks the Arab ceasefire proposal. Let's explore this together. A meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. The Arab Islamic Ministerial Committee called on the U.S. to take responsibility and press Israel towards a quick ceasefire. The foreign ministers also reiterated their call for an end to hostilities, civilian protection, and the lifting of the siege on Gaza, which prevents humanitarian aid from reaching the war-torn region. According to SPA, they opposed displacing Palestinians from Gaza and called for creating a real political climate that leads to a two-state solution. Qatari Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, Jordan's Deputy Prime Minister, and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates, Ayman al-Safadi, Egypt's Sami Shokri, Palestinian Minister Riyad al-Maliki, and Turkish Minister Pekin Fidan attended the meeting. Cairo. A senior UN official told Reuters on Saturday that a new mechanism for vetting Gaza supplies at the Kerem Shalom border is being tested, but efforts to allow trucks to enter and ramp up help are still ongoing. Under the new arrangement, trucks would first enter Jordan at the Kerem Shalom crossing on the Israel-Gaza-Egypt border before entering Gaza from Rafah, 3 kilometers, 1.86 miles distant. Karl Skau, Deputy Executive Director of the UN World Food Program, said trucks must enter Gaza immediately through Kerem Shalom to alleviate the grave situation in the coastal enclave. Israel has rejected UN and other requests to open Kerem Shalom, but they signaled on Thursday that it could soon help transfer humanitarian supplies to Gaza. Egypt has only sent little amounts of aid through the Rafah crossing, which cannot handle many trucks. Trucks travel more than 40 kilometers, 24.85 miles, south to Egypt's border with Israel before returning to Rafah, causing delays. Skau, who visited Gaza on Friday, said Kerem Shalom is testing its inspection system for Jordanian vehicles. It's good and useful because it would be the first time we can import a Jordanian pipeline. We need that access point because it makes all the difference, he stated in an interview. He said, if you get that open, then it's just a matter of how much is available and how much can be absorbed on the other side in an orderly fashion. But then certainly that capacity would not be the issue. We front-loaded our internal resources to feed 1 million people in Egypt and Jordan in 1 month. Ready to go. Transport trucks are ready. Skau said the situation inside Gaza was becoming chaotic as people grabbed what they could from aid distribution points, with more people displaced southward near Egypt and aid trucks at risk of being stopped by desperate residents at intersections. The humanitarian operation is collapsing, so how long can this continue? He remarked. 9 out of 10 people don't eat daily and half are starving. Clearly, needs are huge. Ramallah/Palestinian territories. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said Saturday that the U.S. was responsible for the bloodshed of Gaza Strip children after vetoing a UN Security Council special meeting resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire. The president has described the American position as aggressive and immoral, a flagrant violation of all humanitarian principles and values, and holds the United States responsible for the bloodshed of Palestinian children, women, and elderly people in the Gaza Strip, Abbas's office said. On Friday, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas called for an immediate stop to the Gaza war and an international peace conference to establish a Palestinian state. Abbas, 87, told Reuters at his Ramallah headquarters that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has reached an alarming level that required an international summit and world power guarantees. He stated the PA still worked in Gaza and paid $140 million in monthly salaries and expenditures for employees, pensioners, and needy families. He noted that 3 PA ministers remain in Gaza. We need rehabilitation. We need big support to return to Gaza. Abbas added, Gaza today is different from before. Gaza's hospitals, schools, infrastructure, buildings, roads, and mosques were damaged. Nothing remains. We need finances for Gaza restoration when we return. The United States, which fully supports Israel, is responsible for the enclave, Abbas stated. It is the only power that can order Israel to cease the war and execute its duties, but it doesn't. American complicity with Israel. Hamas and the PA quickly blasted the U.S. veto as the health ministry reported 17,487 Gaza deaths. After the U.S. denied an exceptional UN ceasefire request, Israel continued its offensive against Hamas militants in Gaza on Saturday. The Hamas-run health ministry reported 17,487 deaths in Gaza, predominantly women and children, and Hamas and the Palestinian Authority immediately blasted the U.S. veto. The government reported Saturday that 6 persons perished in an Israeli strike on Khan Yunis and 5 in Rafah. Israeli officials said Hamas will be eliminated after terrorists broke through Gaza's militarized border on October 7 and killed 1,200 Palestinians and took 138 hostages. Gaza is in ruins, and the UN reports food, fuel, water, and medicine shortages and 80% population displacement. The tent is small and cold. Mahmoud Abu Rayyan, relocated from Beit Lahia in the north, said he just had his clothes and doesn't know what to do next. He said Israeli soldiers had expanded their attacks everywhere in the occupied West Bank over the past year, with Israelis escalating violence against Palestinian villages. He underlined his preference for talks over armed resistance to end the occupation. I support nonviolent resistance. He supported international peace conference negotiations to establish a sovereign Palestinian state in the Gaza Strip, West Bank, and East Jerusalem under world power protection. Israel increased its Gaza strikes as Abbas spoke. It has killed over 17,000 people, wounded 46,000, and displaced 1.9 million. With over half of them sheltering in central Gaza or near the Egyptian border after 2 months of combat. A senior U.S. official said allies had considered an international summit, but the plan was still preliminary. It's one of many options on the table that we and others would consider with an open mind, but no decision has been made, the official said on condition of anonymity. After Hamas fighters killed 1,200 people and took 240 hostages in Israeli cities on October 7, Israel began its campaign to destroy Gaza's Hamas movement. Abbas promised to restore the debilitated Palestinian Authority, conduct long-awaited reforms, and resume presidential and legislative elections, which were halted after Hamas won in 2006 and expelled the PA from Gaza based on a binding international agreement. He claimed the PA had honored all peace arrangements with Israel from the 1993 Oslo Accord and subsequent understandings, but Israel had broken its agreements to end the occupation. When asked if he would organize elections if Hamas could win like in 2006, he answered, "Whoever wins, wins. These will be democratic elections." Abbas had planned elections for April 2021. But the EU envoy informed him that Israel would object to voting in East Jerusalem, forcing him to cancel. He said there would be no elections without East Jerusalem because the PA held 3 rounds of elections with East Jerusalem before Israel banned them. Israeli forces took Arab East Jerusalem in 1967. It then annexed it and declared the entire city its capital, which was unrecognized internationally. Palestinians desire East Jerusalem as their capital. Abbas did not outline a post-war plan negotiated with U.S. officials for the PA to take over the Strip, home to 2.3 million people. That's where we wrap things up for the time being. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.